Hello and welcome to another 31 Days of Horror 2014 update with another day from the Toronto After Dark Film Festival. And yet another theme night, actually. We are talking about post-apocalyptic night. So both movies deal with a future, I guess? Possible future? A scenario where, well, everything's gone to hell. So the first film up is a film called Refuge. It's a film out of the US, and it's basically it's a bunch of people who have really done not much of anything before. Directed by Andrew Robertson. Essentially, I think he directed a documentary before this, but that's about it. Has actors by the likes of Sebastian Beacon, nobody, Chris Keys, Amy Rutberg. All these names are very, very, could be somebody. The only person that it's got a Carter Roy in it, who was in a film called Lover's Lane back in 2000. I don't believe I've ever seen it, so I can't really comment on it. But other than that, nobody I recognized, and I doubt you recognize them either. The film is essentially about a family struggling to survive in this world that's been literally devastated by a plague. It's not like a zombie movie or anything like that. This is essentially, if you've seen Contagion and you know how it, disease progresses and all that kind of stuff. In Contagion, they, get to find a cure. In Refuge, no cure. And eventually, society breaks down, and there's just hardly anybody left. And the story is it's a weird one. It's one that I don't think too many people would be really into, but I really, really liked it. I really, really liked Refuge. It reminded me of films like The Road. If you like The Road, it's very much into that similar vein. And it just has this. I'm trying to think. There's also a film by a buddy of mine called The Collapsed, which you may be able to. It's available, and it's similar vein like that, where people are trying to survive in this world. If you like The Battery has a similar. Of course, Battery is a zombie movie, but it has a similar type thing where it's just people just trying to survive and going about their day to day. Of course, The Battery has a lot of, it really is the two characters in it and their interaction with each other, and the comedy involved because of that makes it work. Whereas The Refuge, it really is just this family trying to survive, going through day by day. They eventually meet up with a guy. Ends up in their midst via some events that take place in the movie. I don't want to give too much away, because really you could just keep saying the plot is a group of family tries to survive this post-apocalyptic world, and eventually via meeting up with this one guy learn of a possible commune or group of people who are making a go of it, and they're trying to get to that area eventually. But yeah, a lot of just trying to survive, a lot of trying. Apparently in this world, it hasn't really order hasn't been restored. People are essentially, instead of working to make food and stuff like that, they're essentially just raiding houses, businesses and stuff like that really aren't most of them are empty, because most of the people are dead, and just taking stuff instead of learning how to do things. So it hasn't really gotten to the point where they need to, or well, they didn't run in the movie. At least nobody's really run into anybody of that ilk. Really, it's a lot of hiding and a lot of trying not to get killed by bandits and such like that. And that's the thing. I that's why I liked it so much. It's just very real. It seemed very real. Yes, there isn't this huge story arc or anything like that, but the characters seem real. The locations seem real. The aspects of it seem real. And I'll give them kudos to these guys. Apparently, the filmmakers are from Georgia, and a lot of Georgia has a lot of derelict buildings. I guess they didn't make it through the crash as well as some other places, and so there are places like they found locations where the people just let them film there, and they said, what, I wouldn't say the buildings are safe, but if you want to shoot in them, go right ahead, it's on you type thing. And so they managed to get a great locations and houses and buildings and such to shoot the film in. And I think it's one of those things where I say location means something in real estate. It also means something in film. If you don't have good sets, if you don't have good locations, then sometimes it's really hard to sell your story. But Refuge really manages to pull it off because of the bleak look of the film, the acting and the story that just goes together in this bleak looking world, which works because they are shooting in bleak looking areas and buildings and such. So yeah, I liked it because I liked how real it was. I love post-apocalyptic movies. Like The Postman and Waterworld, as much as you can not like Kevin Costner's movies and stuff like that, but I love them. Why? Because they're post-apocalyptic. Not everything's going to be Mad Max and such, but some movies I love them because of that. They are the real. They put you in that world, and instead of trying to tell this story and this escapism per se, they put you into a make-believe world of despair and darkness, and I don't know, it's something about it that really hits home for me, because sometimes as much as I tend to be somewhat of an optimist, a little bit of a realist, the pessimist in me thinks, what, one of these days, whether it be because of disease, economic collapse, or war, or simply because people just get pissed off, what, the shite could hit the fan, and we could end up living in a society, in a world, in a country that is, in all sense of the idea, post-apocalyptic. You never know. You really never know. So yeah, Refuge is not for everybody, but if you liked The Road, or if you've seen The Collapsed and you like that, or if you like The Battery, not just the interaction between the two, but you liked how it was just some people trying to do their thing in this post-apocalyptic scenario, check out Refuge. I don't know how easy it's going to be to track down, but it's if that's your thing, I definitely say give it a watch. But if you're more into the action, you're more into the story, where it has a big story arc and climax and a reason for a raison d'être, Refuge probably isn't for you. But let's move on to the second film, which well, it's technically a zombie film, so it is the next film in sort of like the it wasn't part of Zombie Night, but it could have been. It's also a film out of Australia. So it's no wonder that there is how did they write this up? They called it Mad Max meets Dawn of the Dead. No, yeah, you wonder why, right? But yeah, you know what? Peter Jackson gives it his thumbs up. He liked the movie. And essentially what it is, you know, zombie apocalypse happens, and it's a group of, well, it's several little stories that sort of join in various ways and eventually come together at the end to form, you know, the final joining together. High-end action, high-end, you know, lots of comedy, lots of gore, lots of crazy antics. It's directed by somebody named Kiah Roache-Turner. Never directed anything before, maybe short films and stuff like that. Never directed any features, so this is the first time for him. In terms of who's in the film, I think it's a bunch of people that he was friends with and worked with in the past. It's got somebody named Jay Gallagher in it, Bianca Bradley or Brady, Brady, B-R-A-D-E-Y, Brady. The best, well, the comedy comes from a guy named Leon Burchell, who plays, I don't even know what you'd call him, but he plays a guy named Benny. And Benny is, you almost want to say he's like a Maori type guy. He's very much into hunting and stuff like that, but he's also like a stoner. And of course his big thing is, you know, his group goes out, and there's I think 2 or 3 of them, and they're going out to do some hunting and stuff and drinking, and they're drinking and they're smoking and stuff, and eventually, you know, zombies. And so yeah, he to me, he is the comedic relief in this film, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have enjoyed this film very much. Sure, it's got lots of gore, lots of energy, but that's all it is. Go, back and forth, constant energy. There is no ebb and flow to the movie, and the story arc, or even the story in general, isn't really there. It's just, you know, telling these, you know, introducing these characters, telling a little story so that they can eventually meet up together and continue on, kill some more zombies, and then eventually, you know, it really gets weird, like really weird, and yeah, you get evil scientists. Yeah, it's weird. So what is this story? So you've got Barry. He is a mechanic. He's got a family, and of course, you know, zombie apocalypse, families don't always make it. And he's essentially on the I guess the verge of you know, killing himself. He just doesn't want to go on anymore. His sister, Brooke, she ends up being kidnapped by a bunch of, you know, like gas masks, sort of they look like government soldiers type thing. And her story is that she's the one being experimented on with by this, you know, crazy doctor, who then, you know, these guys with the gas masks and stuff are government workers, are working with him, and they're collecting zombies and performing experiments, all while driving throughout this whole crazy thing. And one of the odd, weird twists in this film is any flammable liquids, any, you know, gas, stuff like that, you know, any combustibles, for some reason are no longer combustible. some magic, crazy, weird comet or something is causing them to be non-usable. So these, scientists and stuff are, I guess, using some kind of weird electromagnetic propulsion device that they apparently came up with. So Benny, like I said, was with his friends, and some zombie stuff happens to them, and his friends get killed. Eventually, he ends up meeting up with Barry. Yada yada yada. They meet up with some other survivors, and discover that the breath of these zombies is combustible. So they jury-rig a vehicle together using zombies as combustion. So they need zombies to be able to have their propulsion. So they're collecting zombies as they go along. It's like filling up on gas and type stuff. And and he's going to find his sister. So that's the story. His sister's trapped, and I don't think he really knows it. As far as I don't remember if he knew that she was. No, he couldn't have known that she was in with this government agency. He just knows where she last was, and he's going to get her. Meanwhile, she's being experimented on, and then eventually things get really, really, really weird. And I won't tell you why, but let's just say it's luckily this film, really doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever. Much like Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. Think of that. I would say it's more like Bad Taste than it is Mad Max, or Dawn of the Dead or anything like that. I'd say Dawn of the Dead comes because they're zombies, but if you substitute zombies instead of like alien type things and Bad Taste, I think that's more along the vein of what you're looking at. The Mad Max comes because it's post-apocalyptic. People are dressing up in suits and stuff like that, and looking like they're all done up in their armor and such. But yeah, it was a crowd pleaser, that's for sure. The crowd seemed to really enjoy it, and I liked it. But like I said, it was so go. If it wasn't for the comedy of Benny, it seems like whenever it was like just getting to the point where there was just so much action, and it was getting to be overbearing, it was just boring. Like I've seen it already. Oh yeah, they shot another zombie, whoop-de-doo. Benny will come up with whatever one-liner or something like that, and boom, he just gets you back into the movie. And the pacing of his jokes just seemed almost perfect, and it just kept you interested. So if you're into that kind of zany Australian humor, New Zealand humor type thing, you like post-apocalyptic movies, you like zombie movies, if Dead Snow is your thing, where you like really amped up, lots of gore, lots of fighting, lots of guns, lots of killing zombies, then Wyrmwood is something you have to check out. I don't know if it's getting released or anything like that, but I do hope somebody picks it up, just because like I said, it's a lot of fun. And you'll laugh. You may cry because there's just some craziness going on. And there are some original ideas in this movie, that take that zombie spin in a completely different direction. So it's I would recommend Wyrmwood. Again, if you're looking for scary, not scary. If you're looking for great story, not so much. If you're looking for amazing acting, it's passable. But if you like bonkers comedy horror with lots of action and lots of zombies and gore and just zany antics, Wyrmwood is something you should check out. So yeah, that was 2 post-apocalyptic movies one night. Oh my lord. makes me wish for a nice, happy movie. No, it doesn't. It just hits so much, like it's really is too much like home, right? I mean, it's raining outside. I don't know how many people are left. Running out of food. And here I am shooting a video, putting it on what's left of the internet. Yeah. Society really went downhill. Real fast. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Global warming. Yeah. Real thing, eh? Climate change. Who would have known? Only took a couple of days. And next thing you know, everybody was dead. World was in disaster. But I now get this great view out my window. Here, let me show you. Check it out.